Bayou Times Sports is brought to you by Terrebonne General Health System Community Sports Institute in conjunction with Barker Honda and Barker Kia.
I'd like to tell you with Ty Simpson, the starting quarterback, University of Alabama. First year as a starter, so hey, you're the guy this year.
Yeah, no, it's been a long time coming. You know, I'm looking forward to representing my university and playing for the university that I love and with the guys that I love and the people in front of that I love. So it'll be a great year.
You had a lot of guys before you all went on to the NFL, all great success. And, you know, in the world of NIL, transfer portal, did it ever kind of go into your mind, hey, I got to leave here?
Yeah, I mean, you know, I'm not going to sit here and say that it didn't. You know?
Yeah, you always run that.
You know, I got to go through every scenario as a quarterback, especially. But, you know, there's no place that I would rather be. You know, coming in and signing, you know, I understood that I had good players in front of me, but you know the University of Alabama carries a huge name, and you know the teammates that I had, I couldn't see them, you know, being on another sideline. Those guys are going to be my winning one day. And, you know, being able to play in the SEC against teams like, you know, LSU, Oklahoma, Tennessee each year is something that I want. And so, you know, I understood that I had to mature and kind of, you know, trust the process. And if you asked me that 2 years ago, I'd say, you know, I don't know what's going on. But being able to understand everything now is, you know, I can't thank God enough.
You can't run the ball like Milroe. Come on, you can't do that against LSU twice. Man, Milroe, if he goes in the College Football Hall of Fame, they only got to use LSU film. Man, he was unreal against LSU.
Man, y'all think he was unreal against LSU? You should pull up some practice clips, man. That guy, I can't thank him enough for what he's done for me, but he's one of the freakish athletes I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, no question about it. What's the one or two things you really worked on in the offseason? I know you being the guy gives you confidence. You remind me a little bit of Nussmeier from a year ago.
Yeah.
And that you know you're the guy now, and it's now just kind of settling in as the starter.
Yeah, it's so funny you say that. Everybody tells me that.
Oh, really? Okay.
But, you know, I think the biggest things coming into this season was just, you know, my leadership, my vocal abilities to just be the best guy I can be, and also give confidence in my new role and to my teammates. Physically, you know, I just tried to be bigger, faster, and stronger. You know, I understand that I'm not going to be able to run like Jay Mill, but, you know, I got to be able to get out of there quickly. So, you know, those are two of the biggest things I really worked on.
Tell us a little bit about that. He's not a freshman receiver anymore, but with Ryan Williams. Man.
I mean, Deuce?
Deuce.
Man, that's my guy, man. I got off the phone with him last night. He just had to call me. He was like, hey, just want to call you, tell you good night. But, man, he's matured. He's grown. You know, I'm very looking forward to seeing what he can do this year. But, you know, what also helps Ryan, you know, it complements with the two other guys, you know, Isaiah Horton, who's a transfer from Miami, who I, you know from high school, and then Germ, you know, who could have gone to the NFL, who came back. So, you know, those big three, man, like there's nothing like them in the SEC. They honestly remind me of the Jerry Jeudy, Devontae Smith, and Henry Ruggs trio.
Whoa, if that's the case, then you got something there. How much pressure is it, to be honest? You got to win at Alabama, and they don't want no 10-win season. They're worried about winning national championship SEC titles, and so you carry that burden. Like it or not, it's reality.
Yeah, that's what I came here. That's what I stayed here for. You know what I mean? You know, pressure's a privilege, and I'm looking forward to it. You know, I worked hard for this, and I understood, you know, when I signed up for this, and I'm just, you know, I'm glad it's here, and I'm looking forward to taking on the challenge.
Ty, best of luck to you. We wish you all the best. Other than when you play LSU, you know, you don't have to really turn it on that game.
Yeah,
you can just put it in the middle of the road for that one.
Yeah, hopefully after a win we'll get some gumbo.
There you go. Hey, that's a win. It's on me then.
There we go.
All right. Thank you, Ty. Mike to tell you with Sam Leavitt, starting quarterback at Arizona State, and your first time here at Manning.
Yeah, you know, I'm super excited to be here, you know, just be around, you know, Peyton, Eli, and the guys, and then, you know, everybody else who's in my position, and, you know, it's a good experience.
Y'all caught everybody a little bit off guard last year with the season you had. I know your guys thought you were going to do it, but, man, that was one heck of a run.
Yeah, you know, it's just so special to be with that group of guys. You know, nobody believed in us from the beginning, and just continually had success throughout the season and grew. And, you know, we just never looked at what was going to happen the next week. It was just living in the now and, you know, focusing on that day at hand and just going from there. So to be able to experience that with that group of guys was special.
Going to miss that Scatterboo guy, right?
Oh, yeah, that's my guy. Yeah.
He was something to watch.
Yeah, he's so special. I mean, everybody looks at what he does on the field, but they don't understand his mental IQ of the game and, his leadership and all that. And, that's intangibles that you can't see unless you play with them. So that's what makes him so special.
It's amazing. 2 years ago he was at Sacramento State, and then he becomes this star player for you guys.
Yeah, it just shows you how players can get overlooked. We have a bunch of guys like that on the team, and I felt like I was under-recruited in high school, so that's kind of like the chip on our shoulder we have as an entire team. So we carry that around with us everywhere.
Kind of tell everybody a little bit of your journey. You didn't start at Arizona State. You were at Michigan State, but you're from Texas high school ranks, correct?
I'm from Oregon.
Oregon.
Yep. Yeah, played a couple games my true freshman year at Michigan State, and then everything happened with Mel Tucker, and he got fired and all that, and so came out to Arizona State, and the rest is history. I had a great season, and I'm in a better situation than I could ever imagine.
One of the things with Oregon, they've produced a few quarterbacks. We had a big guy here a few years back, and Justin Herbert. Man, he would talk a lot about it. He said, I grew up only about 2 miles from the stadium.
Yeah, I know. He was with my OC Arroyo, so I hear all about him and his stories. I heard he's a great guy, and I watched a lot of his tape and stuff. He's a great player. I'd love to get around him.
He's a big dude. I know one thing. First time you look at him, you say, sure you're playing quarterback? Because he looks more like a defensive end than a quarterback. What's the one thing you've worked on the most this offseason?
I wouldn't say there's one thing. It's kind of just understanding I got to take a bigger leadership role would be one. Understanding, just identifying defenses, even better protections, handling that, getting the ball out on quick game, and just overall IQ of the game and handling everything, plays within our system that, the play might not be within the play call, but I know the look that we need to get to as an offense based on the look that we have. So I guess just overall understanding of the game and getting better at every single aspect.
You got a receiver on that team, man, he developed into a big star last year, and he's going to raise his game up. Tell everybody a little bit about him.
Yeah, Jordan Tyson, I think he's the best receiver in the nation. The way that he views the game, the way that he wins one-on-one, the way that he goes up and gets the ball out of the break, he's super twitchy. I try to race him on our conditioning days on Friday, and he smokes me.
How does that work out?
I keep up decently well, but he definitely wins when he wants to win because he's just so special in and out of the break. So, and he's just taken a leap this offseason that's been so special in his maturity and the way that he's went about his taking care of his body, how he shows up to meetings and to the team and shows up to workouts. So I've just been super proud of him and the leap that he's taken even since last year. It's pretty exponential, and he's a pro now.
What was the biggest surprise for you when you went to Arizona State? I mean, because, growing up in Oregon and you go to Michigan State, man, you kind of hit it all across. Biggest surprise when you hit Arizona State?
I would say once we kind of woke everybody up and played really well, just how many people really like Arizona State and are bought in. It took a while to get people to buy in, but now that they are, there's a pretty big alumni base and, a lot of people who support us. So that's been good to see.
And growing up, now I'm showing some age here, but Cush was the coach at Arizona State. He won a lot there. They were really, you didn't want to play them if they were on your schedule. And now you've got pretty close to that point now.
Yeah, it's good to play Arizona State back on the map and do it with Coach Dillingham and Coach Arroyo, who's really made it go. So I'm just happy to be able to do it for them and be in this situation.
Awesome. Best of luck to you this year, and man, can't wait to see you on the field again.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thanks so much.
This segment was brought to you by Terrebonne General Health System Community Sports Institute in conjunction with Barker Honda and Barker Kia.